Coming up on this election week, ATV News.
There was a lot of smoke and lots of water going in.
We'll show you what's left after fire crews try to save a Nibley house.
A truck hit a barrier and sent a guy flying out of the bed. We'll tell you what the driver did next.
The first thing I want people to know is it is a problem.
Utah's abuse rates are higher than the national average. We'll show you what USU officials said about it.
I've got good and bad news for Aggie basketball, but I'll tell you why you'll want some season tickets for next year.
I'll tell you why that campaign sign will do better than this campaign sign this weekend in weather.
All that and more, this is ATV News.
We started thinking about, property damage and things like that, and it looks pretty bad.
Firefighters were busy as they filled this neighborhood for the second time since the new year. Welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm Jonathan May.
And I'm Robinson Miles. A Nibley family is staying with relatives after their house caught fire. Sarah Murphy shows why they could be staying with family for months.
Firefighters hit the last of the hot spots. There aren't many left after hours of fighting at this Nibley house.
The road was blocked. There was like the fire truck with the huge boom up over the house and water and smoke.
My sister just called me and said the house is on fire, and we just running right here.
Firefighters break down the hoses after they sprayed hundreds of gallons of water to no avail. They pulled the door, but the fire took out the garage, the entire interior of the house, and even the vehicles in the driveway.
It's a big loss for them. Yeah, hopefully they can rebuild them pretty soon.
Firefighters from Hiram City, Wellsville, and Logan, along with 5 other stations, responded to the call.
There can be a lot of work involved in one of these.
There have been lots of people here, and I think this is a good experience for them to practice with their training. They send an awful lot of people.
Right now, the fire rescue teams are investigating the damage in the garage, trying to figure out what started this fire and what left this house in ruins.
They're still being investigated.
I don't know really how did that happen.
Friends and neighbors say the homeowners will stay with family for now.
Everything lost, like the UC down there, it's totally lost. So they're going to need a lot of help from the community.
For the people who live here, their world has been turned totally upside down. Nothing is the same for them.
Sarah Murphy, ATV News.
The mother, father, and 2 daughters who were in the house were able to get out safely.
Logan paramedics treated a man who police found in the street in front of Morty's Cafe. On Friday night, Logan paramedics took the man who was thrown from the bed of a truck in front of a Morty's Cafe. Police say the truck was driving east on 700 North when they say the driver, Giovanni Crosswhite, hit the center barrier with the rear of his truck. Police say the man riding in the bed of the truck was thrown into the street, while Crosswhite kept driving, leaving his fallen passenger behind. A Logan PD lieutenant reported being 3 crashes being behind the truck when it happened. Police say the man thrown from the truck suffered minor scrapes and bruises. Logan PD says Crosswhite later came back to the scene and alcohol was involved.
Officials from the Utah Women in Leadership Project say Utah has the 12th highest sexual assault rate and 11th highest domestic abuse rate in the nation.
Welcome to our spring Women's Leadership Forum.
USU sponsored a forum that addressed violence against Utah girls and women last week. The panel, made up of members from the Utah Women and Leadership Project, an organization designed to strengthen girls and women, reported abuse rates in the state. They said that 1 in 2 Utah women will experience sexual violence victimization or sexual abuse during her lifetime. As a Utah community, they say we need to do better.
Violence against girls and women and rape and all of this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable in a society. It's unacceptable to God. And we have not done the work we need to do in the state of Utah to change things.
If you or someone you know have experienced abuse, you can find a link to USU resources on our Facebook page.
Will you get something out of the new stimulus package? The Senate is reviewing the latest proposal for a COVID-19 relief bill. This time, adult dependents can receive a check. The bill also looks to extend the unemployment benefits, extending the pandemic relief deadline into the summer. The bill also aims to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025.
The elections are underway for next year's student body officers. Voting started this morning at 9, and tonight there will be a debate in the TSC Sunburst Lounge for the student body president candidates. Voting ends tomorrow at 8 p.m., and the USU Student Association will announce the winners Friday at 11 a.m., also in the Sunburst Lounge.
And now for an update on the number of coronavirus cases in Utah. There have been over 5,000 new cases in Utah from last week, with over 14,000 active cases. And the total number of cases in Utah is over 360,000. In Cache County, there have been 52 new cases with over 500 active cases, and the total number of cases in Cache Valley is over 14,000 cases. At USU, there are 6 new cases with 104 active cases and over 3,000 total cases.
Can you still use Aggie Blue Bikes to get around? President Noel Cockett shifted university funds to keep it around.
We've got to keep having the conversations about what you guys want, whether it's on tuition or whether it's on student fees.
Aggie Bikes was recently cut from student fees, but after student outcry, President Noel Cockett used different university funds to save the bike shop. Employees are disappointed in the cut, but glad the shop gets to stick around.
Even if they had to defund us, they still were able to make a way so that we didn't have to get cut as harsh. So we appreciated that, that compromise, but it is too bad that we had to get cut a little bit, but we'll make it work.
The shop rents, repairs, as well as teaches how to fix bikes. They say they're excited to continue to help people ride bikes.
Rob, did you ever ride a bike to school?
I didn't. I mostly walked, and as a kid, that was my main source of exercise.
Well, lucky for those who don't like walking, Aggie Blue Bikes will stay open. And coming up.
You know, they say it's the greatest snow on earth. Who am I to disagree?
Does Utah have the best snow? We'll tell you what climatologists think. And
I have hands-on experience working with cows.
We'll show you how student opportunities are getting USU national recognition. And
we'll have Kaylee Foster give us this week's weather outlook coming up. The current temperature is 31 degrees.
In Utah, 1 in 8 women and 1 in 50 men will be raped. Also in Utah, 1 in 3 women will experience sexual violence. Of the completed and attempted rapes against college women, less than 5% will actually be reported. Sexual assault should not be a part of the college experience. Always get consent.
Consent for sexual activity is enthusiastic.
Consent is sober.
Consent is non-coerced.
Consent is verbal.
Consent is mutual.
If you or someone you know has experienced sexual assault, report it at reportingsa.usu.edu.
It's not my first time bartending, so.
It's a sausage party in here.
It's fine. I'm very familiar.
Yeah, because you're a sexy girl, Sam. Last thing,
Yeah.
is that the music, when Momo kicks it into high gear, is going to get a little bit loud in here. So your customers are going to have a hard time hearing you. So you may want to.
What?
Sorry, I've got big ideas.
As a college student, you have big ideas to make a big difference on campus. Why not get funding for those ideas in a big way? The Blue Goes Green grant provides funding for student sustainability projects. These projects help USU students be more environmentally responsible, live healthier, and save money. To find out more, go to usu.edu/BGG. Get funding for your Blue Goes Green idea in a big way. Blue Goes Green. Make a difference.
I'm Kaylee Foster. As we could see over here on the East Coast, up down through the Midwest, there's some overcast and precipitation that is coming through this area. And as we move down south, we're not seeing as much, especially coming up to this to the West Coast as well. Over in the northwest, we have some clouds and precipitation coming through as well. And I want to also point out down here at Texas, there's no clouds, overcast going through this area at this time, which is good, especially compared to what they saw last week with that extreme cold. Let's take a look now at Utah. So as you can see here, we've got this overcast and precipitation coming down through and around the Great Salt Lake and coming up through Salt Lake, Ogden, and to Logan, to where we are. And here on campus, we're going to be seeing some different weather, some rough weather this weekend. And if you saw my campaign signs earlier, you're not going to want to take shelter under here. You're going to want something more enclosed, like this sign right here. And as we go into the 7-day forecast, we can see that over here on Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be in the low 30s, and we're not going to see much precipitation come down here. But as we go over to Friday and into Saturday, we're going to have a 50 to 60 chance of snow on these days. So make sure you're bundled up and ready for that, if that's how you dress for this weather. And then to finish up the week, we've got Sunday as a low 30s, and then we're going to go back up towards the 40s on Monday, and then mid 40s on Tuesday. You're all caught up. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Kaylee. This Utah license plate says Fonzie on it. Robinson, am I as cool as the Fonz?
You know, to be honest, I've always thought of you as more of a Doogie Howser type.
I couldn't agree more. But what's more important is this claim right here, greatest snow on Earth. Now, is that true? I took a look at the science behind Utah's famous powder.
Tighten your bindings and catch some air. In the state that says it has the best powder.
The snow in Utah, you know, they say it's the greatest snow on Earth. Who am I to disagree? There's got to be something special about it.
Utah's license plate claim does have some truth.
A lot of studies have been conducted on it and found that we have specific conditions in Utah that allow us to have the greatest snow on Earth.
Climatologists say Utah has powder like this because of a couple of reasons.
And those reasons could make snowboarding in Utah the best place for the sport.
We have the right temperatures for it. We have the right water content. Utah is dry. We don't have a lot of humidity. We, during winter, tend to be cooler, and we also have like the terrain for it.
The powder in the Beehive State has one snowboarder preferring trips to Utah over Colorado.
Utah has better snow. It just seems to stick around and last a little bit longer than it does at Colorado, and it's just a little bit more fun to be on.
Ski Utah says the snow density in Utah is 8.5%, which they say leads to the perfect mix of dry, fluffy snow.
Ski Utah says there is a lake effect as storms develop over the Pacific Ocean and move to the Great Salt Lake. They say this leads to fresh powder, which makes the snow more dense. Now, Rob, do you agree with the license plate?
You know, I'm from Wyoming, so I have to say maybe that state needs to at least be in the conversation there, but I don't think your home state would.
No, Texas, well, maybe last week they could get a claim in that, but absolutely not, no.
You won't be able to play basketball on campus for a little while longer. The field house recently finished resurfacing the track and basketball courts, but is renovating even more.
We're actually planning on replacing all of the basketball hoops here as well.
Campus Recreation plans for the hoops to return in 2 weeks. The additions also include holes to set up pickleball and volleyball.
Even though 2020 was difficult for many of us, Logan was able to keep a strong economy. This is part of the reason Logan ranks second best small city by the Milken Institute in its annual rankings of the best performing cities in America. The report looks at a city's job, wages, tech growth, housing, and broadband access. Utah State University helped Logan keep a strong local economy in 2020, while universities across the country reported layoffs. USU maintained its spot as the community's top employer. According to Logan City, its diverse community helped Logan with this ranking.
Some life science manufacturers, you've got food processing companies, other high-tech types of operations. So that is probably one of our strongest attributes when describing our economy, is that it is diversified.
Other cities in Utah that were recognized in the report by Milken Institute include Provo, Salt Lake, Ogden, and St. George.
Last Thursday, NASA landed a rover on Mars. NASA described this parachute that brought the rover to the surface of Mars as, quote, the most massive parachute ever sent to another world. The rover's name is Perseverance, and it has multiple high-definition cameras that recorded its descent. It also has a microphone that captured the first ever recorded audio from Mars. NASA sent the rover to look for ancient microscopic signs of life. They described the rover as, quote, a six-wheeled robotic microbiologist. I have to admit, John, it kind of sounds like the start of a scary movie, going to look for life on other planets.
I know, I gotta admit, the only life I want to find on Mars is Matt Damon.
Worst case scenario, they just find some little green men and we're okay.
Absolutely.
And coming up.
She's gonna try and finish, does, and won.
William Boltez will tell you why you should go to Aggie basketball games while you still can. And
this is really for students, you know, and for researchers.
What's hiding in USU Special Collections?
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
I tried Oxy at a couple of parties. I thought I had it under control. I didn't know it'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Welcome to Good News, Bad News on ATV Sports. I'm William Boltez. Let's start off with some good news. March Madness so far is good to go again after being canceled last year because of COVID concerns. The bad news? We'll be seeing more of these cardboard cutout fans because the Mountain West Championships will be held without any three-dimensional fans this year. But hey, At least the Maggie's men's team might make it to March Madness again? Oh yeah, well, about that, well, let's hear some good news first. USU Athletics played 7 rivalries and in-state team games this week, making for some fun competitive games. Most notably, the men's and women's basketball teams both played Boise State twice. But the bad news? They lost all 4 of those games. The men's team drops to 14-7 on the year, and the women's team falls to 4-15, continuing their 11-game losing streak. But wait, there's more. USU lost against 3 in-state teams too. They were against SUU in gymnastics and BYU and UVU in softball. But let's finish off with some good news though, shall we? The head coach for men's basketball, Craig Smith, has extended his contract with the Aggies through the 2025-26 season, and Smith led Utah State to back-to-back Mountain West titles in 2019 and 2020. In 2019, Smith was named the Mountain West Coach of the Year with a record of 28-7. In other news, men's tennis played 2 home matches this week. They had a tough loss against Denver, but bounced back to blow out Colorado Mesa 7-0. The men's tennis team advanced to 4-2 on the season. Softball had a long week of 5 games, winning 2 of them against Dixie State on Sunday and Montana on Saturday. And the regular season is coming to a close for most of these teams, but we have golf, soccer, volleyball, and track and field to look forward to later this semester. That's been your good news and bad news this week. Back to you, Rob.
Thanks, William. Now, Jack London may never have actually been to Logan, but recently I took a look at how his fingerprints made their way into the USU library.
A book of verses underneath the bough, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and thou, beside me singing in the wilderness. O wilderness were paradise enow. In 1903, Jack London copied this poem by Omar Khayyam on the inside cover of a first edition copy of his new book, The Call of the Wild. That copy is now in USU Special Collections. Special Collections is an archive in the basement of the USU library.
The things that we have in Special Collections are the closest connection that we have to the past.
Jack London became a celebrity in the early 1900s for books like White Fang and The Call of the Wild. His work includes themes about protecting nature.
He wrote about finding the balance between what we as humans need to survive and what the environment we inhabit needs to survive.
In a lot of these books, he would post a little photo of himself.
The university's Jack London items bring attention from London fans around the world.
For Utah State to have what is the second largest collection of Jack London manuscripts and first edition novels in the world is a huge international draw.
In terms of name recognition, it's our biggest collection in terms of just a national name, a nationally known author.
Special Collections also has collections of Czechoslovakian history, beat poetry, and the country's largest collection of Little Red Riding Hood books.
Everything in Special Collections is available for researchers as well as students.
I mentioned to you that this is my last semester, I'm retiring. I am extremely happy that that archive is here so that I can use it.
To see what else is in Special Collections or to make an appointment to visit, go to the link on our Facebook page.
USU is the winner of the 2020 Award for Undergrad Achievements. This award recognizes USU as a national leader in research programs for undergrads. ATV's Kaylee Foster gives us a look at the opportunity students have to do research.
Even on the farm, USU students such as Osvaldo get to take part in research projects.
The experience is very valuable. It's enhanced my college career.
Students are able to conduct research projects that go along with their school majors.
I got the opportunity to work in Dr. Fernando Batisto's lab up at Utah State University with the College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences, and her main research focus was on the nutrition of dairy cows.
60% of majors here at USU require some sort of research. While not all of this is going to be at labs, some are getting this just through introductory English classes. According to the research department, only about 27% of students are doing research outside of the classroom.
So many students participate in research without even knowing that what they're doing is research, because in their field they don't talk about it as research. They talk about it as artistic activity or clinical work.
Not all students that go through the research program even have plans of doing research outside of college.
And if I do not go into research for grad school soon, I can still use these skills on how to read papers and how to read experiments for production on a modern dairy farm as well.
Kaylee Foster, ATV News.
President Noel Coughlin quickly congratulated the faculty and students that made this recognition possible.
You may have seen drones flying over nature taking photos, but what about on a farm? ATV's Kaylee Foster is back to show us how farmers and ranchers are able to use this technology.
Drones come in all different shapes, sizes, and uses on and off the farm. Over the years, drones have become more helpful on the farm by allowing the farmer to capture data over their entire operation from one takeoff location. Aggie Air at Utah State University works on research with water consumption in vineyards using drone technology.
We've been flying in California where the drought is restricting the amount of water, and so it becomes a business case to say, how do we most efficiently use our water supply? And drones can help answer the question.
Drone technology makes it so if I were the farmer and I wanted to check on my field without leaving my house, I could stay in bed and fly my drone over my field. And then this drone would take images on this payload that I could then check out back on the ground.
Each individual camera takes a different kind of picture. When combined, you can do algorithms, you can do math to produce yet another kind of picture. And that is the picture which tells you here's where there's more water, here's where there's less water.
For some farmers, drone technology can be an investment. However, the researchers at Aggie Air have compared a drone to being just as useful as a tractor.
The drone technology, at least since I've been doing things, has really become a whole lot cheaper and a lot easier for people to get a hold of. It used to be you had to build your own drone and you had to learn a whole bunch just to get anything to work.
Kaylee Foster, ATV News.
Other uses of drones include delivery, military, and emergency rescue. Now, John, we've seen drones today, we've seen rovers landing on Mars. I hope you haven't gotten your fill of flying machines, because over the credits you'll get to see even more of that Mars landing.
Well, Rob, that's out of this world.
That's terrible, John.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News. You can catch our latest editions on our Facebook page. Now let's go back to Mars.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Hey Aggies, welcome to the Arc. Campus Recreation Fitness is aimed at giving students a fun yet rigorous exercise program that's also social and dynamic.
Our fitness program currently consists of a ton of different classes that you can jump into up to 74 different times a week. With classes ranging from HIIT, body blast, cycling, yoga, Zumba, you name it and we have it.
Stop.
Come check us out at the Aggie Rec Center as we love seeing new friendly faces.
Get your game up. Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else? Or will you dare do something different? Like Be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills. The smarts.
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool. Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?